crumpled ocean with no boat trip. Dark water stole my clothing. Shake stars beneath me, pulse plans along blood streams. First by Mars, the beginning of the cold vessel, the coldness. I know. Bare those teeth to me, please, my eater. You can see all me naked with fear. This is the test I left one for to grip flesh and pull muscle and the vice clinch of the struggle I can't give into. Weight of the coldest vessel, the coldest I know. I know. I know. My enemy, please stay close to me. No breath left, cold breath thief. The last gasp from a first love, fight fathers, a weak son. The last taste of salt in my mouth. Skin breaks, no sun untold. Lamb from lamb. There is bone, there is bristle, I'm slain. In the coldest vessel, the coldest.
Good evening. You ready? We start a press conference after the match. First assessment from the coach.
Problem with defending Tavares, especially after Dunstan get a foul problem. It was our defense go down, and also in offense. So before the game, we think to take more mid-range shots or three-point shot to don't attack too much to Tavares inside, because he wait on the inside of the pick and roll, but we missed the shots in the first half, and then we tried to use in the second half to mismatch against him with Derrick Brown. So some minutes we get successful, but after again we have a problem to defending him under the basket, and also after Doncic start to play effective, our defense go down, and we lost the game.
Okay, preguntas para el entrenador.
Questions for the coach? Good evening. I would like to ask about Tavares. He's been in Real Madrid for a short time, and he played his best match against you. I would like to know if you, as an opponent, can see him as an unbalancing player in a competition like the EuroLeague, because most of the power was unbalancing. So do you think he's unbalancing for you? That he...
Like I told this in my comment of the game, he destroyed to our balance, because it's not easy, especially Dunstan. He suffered in the first half to find his pick and roll offense because he's too big. And in defense, same thing. So I think that tonight he made a great job on the game.
Una pregunta más.
Any further questions? Okay. Good evening again. We'll start with a press conference after the match, press the assessment from Pablo and then questions. Good evening. First, to congratulate the team for the win. I think it was quite a solid match, both from the defensive and the defensive point of view. I would have to ask for a but. It would be the losses of the ball we had in unnecessary mistakes, but controlling the rebound and the pace of the match for the whole 40 minutes was ours. As a matter of fact, we won all fourth quarters, and I believe we were able to find players who were providing different offensive and defensive positions. So I'm happy about the win. It was a complex day because we had a weird week. And Tompkins, we didn't know if he could play until 6. He had a problem with his stomach. Luka couldn't train until yesterday and just a bit. Nevertheless, I believe the team responded quite well. And we were able to have a win, which is, I always say, it's always difficult in the EuroLeague. Questions, as usual, please identify yourself and the company that you represent. Noemi Fernandez, Real Madrid Television. Congratulations for the win, Pablo. To assess especially that we won home after the first two-thirds of this regular stage, why we cannot miss these matches? Well, the EuroLeague is a competition where each match is quite demanding. Therefore, I believe that right now we're in a position where we still need to go and find our classification amongst the first 8, which is not easy. And we see how hard it has been for all teams to stay in top. After that, achieving the classification to find the field match in the playoffs, and we lost 2 matches home, which probably would just place us in the first position. I believe we were able to compete quite well during the whole EuroLeague, just 1 match. We were not there for whatever situation, but the rest of them, the team was quite competitive, knowing that we have great opponents in front of us. Playing home, obviously, the fan support is great to feel safe here, and right now we have a streak of wins of the EuroLeague at home that allow us to see the future, sort of speak, being optimistic, knowing that each match is difficult and different. Hello, Pablo. Carlos Sanchez from Madrid. You talk about the streak home is 8 wins in the last 9 matches in Europe. What does that mean to you? Because it doesn't seem quite easy, does it? Well, no, I think we started quite well with the EuroLeague. And then we had a moment when there were quite some problems, and the way we played was a bit bad, especially Gustavo's injury, because he's an internal reference for us. And Eddie half-season covers a bit what we lost with Gus and Gustavo. Therefore, we kind of had to rearm ourselves. Tompkins was out for a bit, Randolph injured. There were many factors that for us needed a bit of time to adjust. So a lot of changes in the inner game, not just the inner players, where I would highlight Felipe, who he was there every day, but also for the outer ones to learn how to play with different options. I'm happy with the latest results, but that's it. We finished today. I'm happy about today, and I know that the next one will be as or even more difficult than today. Hello, Pablo. Faustin Sabi from El País. Knowing your demand, where does the team go through? Just with the inclusion of the injured ones, because now we have competitive picks like the King's Cup, or is there room for improvement in these players? Well, I always say that all of them can play better. It's true that I'm demanding with my players, but I'm demanding in the things I believe are positive for the team. For instance, I'm surprised with Rudy's statistics. He had 3 points, but he had 8 assists, and he played wonderfully. And I'm happy because he was quite well. He unbalanced the match quite well, and he deactivated. And if I would have to ask, I would talk about Jonas and Rudy. Jonas had 3-pointers, and he was key. So I always think that all of them can give that bit extra. And when we retrieve players, we need to understand how players go in. The very one who goes in, what he can contribute with the team, and as a technical team, that's what we demand. Javier Rodriguez, Plantas Fe. I would like to ask about Randolph. If you decided to discard him because he was not feeling well, or you think he's more or less bad? And a question that I asked Ataman about Tavares, if you consider that he's an unbalancing center, not just from the statistics, but what we don't see in the match, that he's one of the most unbalancing players as a center in Europe, bearing in mind that many went to NBA. Regarding Randolph, quite simple. He trained yesterday and he was amazing. If you saw the training session, you would think that Pablo Lasso is totally dumb because he was not played. But I rather think I'm not an idiot and he's not ready to play because we're talking about an effort. He's been without playing for a couple of months and today he was dead. And that's normal. He's in the preseason. Anthony, we have to get him back little by little. We should take no chances with him. But right now, he's suffering no pain. The injury is cured. He's quite well, but we cannot think that Anthony Randall is going to be at his best today or tomorrow. We have to take some time with him, and especially the team. Patience to go back into the team, and he should be patient to go in little by little. But I repeat myself, Anthony is doing quite well. Regarding Eddie, when we got Eddie, we knew that he could help us a lot. He would make us change things because he's different from players we had before in the last few years. He had a lot of conditions to play within this team, not just his size and height. When you talk about centers, it seems that I don't like centers because I've heard that from quite often. I've been here for 7 years and I heard that I don't like centers. And I have Gustavo Ayón, Reyes, and now Tavares. I love centers, but I love players who make the team better. And in that sense, I believe Eddie is a player who's contributing a lot, both from the defensive and defensive point of view. And obviously, such a big player right now is not here, meaning that he can be a determining factor. Well, I wish so. I hope so. Jorge Martinez, elbenabeu.com. You talked about Jonas. I would like for you to assess his season with his change of role and further to that defensive aspect that we all knew. He's doing quite well on the attack. So is this a less of a bad news or a good news than what happened from that injuries, those things that we were not seeing during last season? Well, I believe that Jonas, for some seasons, had a contribution to the team which was very important, key, and that was together with his national team where he was also key. Therefore, and according to Jonas's attitude, his resting days were very few. I believe Jonas, we were clear that he had to change a bit his mindset, even disconnect from basketball. Sometimes we did that at the beginning of the season, and he would have to recover, so to speak, the eagerness, the feeling, and you can only get that when you disconnect. I'm not talking just about basketball, I'm talking about just work. When I talked to him at the beginning of the season, I knew I could use him as usual in different positions. He played as 2, 3, 4, and Jonas is always there. As they say in the dressing room, he's a soldier. He just goes. He could be playing more or less good, but you always says what he did. For instance, the first quarter in San Sebastian was key. So I think he contributes with energy in whatever position he's playing. And I'm happy that you ask about him today because I think he played a wonderful match. He's playing in a quite solid way. He's quite versatile, and it's very good for us when he played as 2, as 3, and as 4. And he's a very important player for us, and we're really happy with his performance. Any further questions? Right, thank you.
The rolling waves and sing like a breeze, living in colors that they never could see. Just a bunch of dreamers, loving it.